I really liked reading. I was watching that back. And my favorite part was reading. So I'm gonna read you a segment in this. Brian Returns, that I really love. I should get some more books and I'll just read to you. You wanna hear me read? My favorite thing was just listen to my grandma Katina read with her Austrian accent. I got on my sweetheart. So I have all the power with me. Are you listening? Okay, this is the part I highlighted. Did I tell you? His boy went into the wilderness. He had to survive on his own. And the wilderness got into his soul, okay? Says, then, so now he's seeing a counselor. He's back home from the woods, and he can't adjust to regular life. He just has nature, and he just has the nature's in his bones, and the real life just seems so shallow comparison. And so he's talking to somebody. I think he broke up a fight, actually. That's why he's talking. I think he's only talking to a counselor because he broke up a fight, but the counselor is actually very interested in his story. And he goes, they tell me you're the boy who lived in the woods, the one who was all over television a couple of years ago. Okay. I wanted to be with that. Set it up shot. They tell me you're the boy who lived in the woods, the one who was all over television a couple of years ago. Brian nodded. Is that right? Brian nodded again and realized with a start that Caleb was blind. Yes. Caleb laughed, deep and booming. You were nodding. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Don't be sorry. It's flattering that you took so long to see it. I don't know, I just want the one segment. He's talking about when he went blind. Maybe I should just read a whole book. We still have to go back to jeans. I should read more of that. Anyway. He's asking him, he wants him. Lord help me, please. I want to make something good. Brian leaned back. I guess he's asking for more. Brian leaned back. If you want to. Brian took a breath. Or we could talk about something else. Never mind that part. I already told you, broke up a fight. Here you go. Tell me about the woods. Pardon? The woods. Tell me about them. I'm a city boy. And I don't know anything about woods. What are they like? Brian shrugged. They're all right. All right, that's all. After all you did, that's all you could say? I heard you had to eat bugs and almost died. What was it like? What was it really like? Brian paused. Remembering a blade of grass. A blade of grass that moved the way a rabbit turned its head, or just before an arrow hit it. Wait. It is so clumsy. I thought this was so poetic. I'm not doing just blade of grass that moved The way a rabbit turned its head just before an arrow hit it. A flash of color when a fish rolled in the water. I don't think you would understand. Nobody who hasn't been there can really know. Caleb nodded and was silent. And then he spoke softly. Tell me one thing then. What do you mean? Tell me one thing, one part of it. One part of it that I could see in my mind and understand. You can do that, can't you? Brian shrugged. I guess so. Which part do you want to know about? You pick it. Brian thought for nearly a full minute. Moose attacks, wild wind, good kills. Good kills, near misses, food. Lord, food. When he was starving and the fierce joy that came when a hunt worked, all of it was there. Every little and big thing that had happened to him in a summer and a winter. In the end, he decided to tell Caleb about a sunset. There had been many sunsets, and they were all beautiful. Everyone had different light, different sounds, and he remembered them. Remembered them all the way somebody who watches a wonderful movie can remember every bit of the movie. The one he described for Caleb was in the winter. It had been still. I'm breaking it up. The one he described for Caleb was in the winter. It had been still, unbelievably cold day when trees exploded and the sky was so brilliantly clear that when he looked into the blue, it didn't seem to have a limit, didn't seem to end. It was late afternoon, and he had eaten hot food inside his shelter and gone outside to get wood in for the night. The sun was below the tree line, but there was still light, and the sky was rapidly turning a deep cobalt blue. And Brian could see a single bright star. Or was it a planet? Venus, perhaps, near where the sun had disappeared. Suddenly, and it was so quick he almost missed it, a spear of golden light shot from the sun and seemed to pierce the star like an arrow of gold light, one brilliant shaft there and gone. And when he watched transfixed, another shaft came, and then another. 3 times, 3 light arrows from the sun shot through the star. It made him believe, made him know, made him believe, made him know that there was something bigger than he was, something bigger than everybody, bigger than all. He thought it must mean something, and had to mean something, but he could not think what. 3 arrows of light, 3 arrows, maybe a name, maybe a direction. Later, after he came back and was trying to understand all that had happened, he read that early in the north saw the northern lights and believed them to be the souls of dead children dancing. Brian knew it was really the it's not, this isn't very poetic anymore. We don't want to hear that. I want to stop at the don't say that. The ionosphere ionizing, but he still wanted it to be the souls of dead children playing. Wanted it to mean more. Why did I highlight? I should have stopped it. I don't want to be dead children playing in the sky. You know what? If they're having a good time, I guess that's good. Sounds scary though now. No! Yes, that sounds good. Dancing. Brian knew it was really playing. Wanted to mean more, and it was the same with the sunset. It was so beautiful. It took his breath, and he stood with his arms full of wood, staring at the sky until the sun The star and the light were gone, wanting it all to mean more. He tried to tell Caleb everything about the sunset, every color, every shade, the small sounds of the ice cracking and singing on the lake, the hiss of the cold sky, the rustle of powder, snow settling. Told it all, and when he was done, he looked across the desk and he saw that Caleb was crying. I just remember reading that. I was thinking of what can I read here? I don't really have any things to read here. I read scriptures every day. Isn't that pretty? My phone's gonna die. I watched a movie. When I was reading this, I heard about this man being blind. I was watching a movie the other day. It was called At First Sight. It was with Val Kilmer in it. He plays a blind man, and a girl falls in love with him. She like lives in New York. He's always busy, and then she goes to this small town and meets this blind man, and he's like just like filled with, and he's a masseuse, so he's all filled with touch and poetry, like about what, like in that way, just because like she's like, they go and they're like, they go on a date and they're in the rain, and he's describing the rain to her, and he's like, come on, just stop and listen, just listen, and how he's describing it, and then she's all like looking at him, she's like, oh, like listening to him describe it, and she's and he's like, oh, I just want to dance in the rain, and then there's some really nice lines in it, and you could tell she's just totally I don't know, just enchanted by it. Then I would love to make a video with movie clips in it, but sometimes they delete the video. They don't let me show it. I did that before. I get so inspired by certain things. Should we try again? I don't know, I like things like that. I like being descriptive of just beautiful things. It just makes you feel a bit magical. Things like that. Oh, so you should watch it. Just like, he's touching her face, and then they're ice skating, and just like, even though he can't see me, I feel like he really knows me. He knows me. So sense. That's all he just had. She's trying to explain the horizon to him, and I don't know, it's romantic. It's poetic. It's poetic movie. But actually, that's just a few parts. Then it starts to get a little stressful towards the end. Just watch the beginning. How about that? Just take the pieces I like, you know?